Have you ever stopped to think that the life you know might be just a simple simulation? Neville Goddard reveals that we are immersed in a grand theater, where each of us is both the actor and the author. If you wish to step out of this simulation and transform your financial and spiritual life, the answer lies within your mind. Neville Goddard introduces a concept that might seem challenging at first. The life we know is, in fact, a simulation. But not a simulation in the technological sense you might imagine, rather a staging like a theatrical drama. He suggests that each of us is living out a play, where we assume roles and characters within a larger plot. Just like a play unfolds on stage, our lives unfold before us, and it's up to each person to consciously play their part. Understanding this can be one of the first steps towards achieving prosperity and self-knowledge. This concept isn't about alienation from reality, but about understanding that the world around us responds to our internal vibrations. What you feel, think, and imagine inevitably shapes the events you experience. Neville asserts that prosperous living begins when we realize we are not victims of external circumstances but authors of the drama. Spirituality is found in recognizing this truth. Everything around you is a reflection of what you project from within. Imagine for a moment that, just like a theater director, you can change the course of the play by adjusting your internal focus. The spiritual journey is akin to that of an actor on stage, striving to perform their role with mastery, but aware that they can create their own destiny. Have you ever considered how your daily choices shape your financial and emotional reality? This is what Goddard invites us to reflect on. If you change your perception, your financial life, your relationships, and your spiritual purpose can transform. It's like adjusting the lighting on a stage. The play changes its entire tone. By understanding this metaphor, you begin to access a prosperous life. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to keep receiving content that will lead you to true transformation. Imagine you are writing your script daily. That feeling of being stuck in a routine or not advancing in your dreams can change when you see life as a stage where you can rewrite the next scene. Instead of passively accepting the role given to you, you can take command and create the scenario you want. This exercise of imagination has a deep basis in spirituality. By changing your internal vibrations, you transform the external scenario. Want to change your financial life? Start imagining yourself as already prosperous. Neville reminds us that the stage of life isn't rigid, and the simulation can be adapted as we grow in self-knowledge. Many people go years without realizing they have the power to alter their script lines. They simply repeat what they were taught, not realizing they can take on new roles. Prosperity, both spiritual and material, begins the moment you allow yourself to recognize this truth. Life is a simulation, and if you tune into this understanding, you can direct it towards personal fulfillment and success. All of this connects with the power of imagination. If you desire a prosperous life, you must imagine that prosperity happening now, as if it were already your reality. The common mistake is to wait for circumstances to change before changing the internal vibration. Neville teaches the opposite. Adjust your internal state first, and the scene around you will mold itself accordingly. Think of great personalities who achieved wealth and prosperity. Many of them began by believing in something that didn't yet exist in the physical world. Seeing life as a simulation allows you to free yourself from the constraints of everyday life. The small frustrations that once consumed you can be seen as mere scenes in a temporary play. And by realizing that you write your own script, the power to transform your financial, emotional, and spiritual life is in your hands. Changing your perspective generates a new vibration that attracts what aligns with your desires. It's all about where you place your focus and energy. Just like an actor preparing for the lead role, you need to be aware of your choices and intentions. If you want prosperity, adopt the habit of daily visualizing the ideal scenario. This practice is common among many who have achieved success, not just financially but also spiritually. Neville suggests that to achieve a prosperous life, we need to mentally rehearse what we want until it becomes part of our reality. This is the key to transformation. Constant rehearsal in the mind. A prosperous and spiritually aligned life is achieved when you understand that the stage is yours and changes begin from within. How many times have you let the script imposed by others guide your decisions? Today is the moment to take control of this simulation. By tuning your internal vibrations to your deepest desires, you create the prosperity you seek. This is Neville's teaching. Everything starts in the mind. Everything starts with what you believe is possible. And so, we reach the essential point. Life is malleable, and awakening to the reality that we are living in a simulation allows you to tap into the power to transform your destiny. If you take on the role of director, you can adjust the scenes of your financial life, your spiritual journey, and your relationships. This new perception is what Neville proposes for all of us. To awaken within the dream and start rewriting the story. By doing so, you open the doors to a new level of prosperity and self-knowledge. Now that we're on the path to understanding this simulation, it's important to dive even deeper. After all, if life is like a play, what happens when Christ is crucified within us? Goddard offers a unique view on this. He presents a powerful symbolic interpretation of the crucifixion of Christ, which occurs not in the physical world but within the human skull. What many understand as a historical event, Goddard redefines as a spiritual, deep, and intimate process. The crucifixion, for him, represents the awakening of the divine being that resides within each of us. This crucifixion happens when we undergo the process of spiritual rebirth, where the old identity is discarded and a new perspective begins to emerge. The skull, in this metaphor, becomes the stage for sacrifice and transformation. The spiritual meaning here is profound. The Christ who is crucified is not an external being, but the divine essence of each individual. When we begin to awaken to the reality that we are more than our physical bodies and external circumstances, the process of crucifixion begins. The skull, as the seat of the mind and imagination, is where this awakening occurs, for it is through a change in mindset that we truly elevate ourselves to a prosperous and spiritual life. This concept of internal crucifixion may be hard to visualize, but think of it as a moment of transition in your own life. How many times have you gone through periods of difficulty that completely transformed you? These moments of death of old patterns, limiting beliefs, and wrong perceptions are crucial for spiritual rebirth. Just as a seed needs to die to generate a plant, we too need to undergo this internal transformation to achieve a prosperous and spiritual life. When you face challenges, it can be helpful to remember this crucifixion metaphor. Each obstacle can be an opportunity to be reborn, to free yourself from old paradigms. Spiritual awakening occurs when you accept the sacrifice of the old identity for a new one, more connected with your true purpose. For example, if you are seeking financial prosperity, it may be necessary to crucify old beliefs about money, such as the fear of not having enough, and replace them with an abundance mindset. Goddard emphasizes that this crucifixion is not a painful experience but one of liberation. When Christ is crucified within you, it is your old way of viewing the world that is sacrificed. From this, you begin to see the universe in a new light. This shift in perspective raises your vibrations, allowing you to manifest a more prosperous and spiritually enriched life. By freeing yourself from the limitations of the old mind, you start to walk the path of self-transformation and self-knowledge. The rebirth that follows the crucifixion is the awakening to your true essence. The moment when you realize that you are not limited by external circumstances but can indeed shape your internal reality and, consequently, your external one. This understanding brings a new way of living. You start to vibrate in harmony with your deepest desires, and this positively affects your financial life, your relationships, and your spiritual purpose. The crucifixion in the skull, therefore, is the gateway to a new life. The idea that Christ resides within us is one of Goddard's deepest revelations. We are not separate from God or divinity. Rather, this spiritual force is ingrained in each of us. This understanding brings a sense of responsibility, but also immense potential. When you connect with this inner force, you can access a wisdom and power that far exceed what the ordinary mind can imagine. This is the path to achieving a prosperous life in every sense. Just as spiritual awakening begins with the sacrifice of the old mindset, it deepens as you learn to master your thoughts and emotions. Goddard suggests that this crucifixion is a continuous act of renouncing the ego and the limitations imposed by the conditioned mind. Over time, you learn to cultivate thoughts that align with prosperity and abundance, gradually letting go of the lower vibrations of fear and scarcity. Thus, the crucifixion within the skull becomes the beginning of a new phase of life. This spiritual rebirth also offers a new understanding of life's challenges. Instead of viewing difficulties as punishments or failures, you start to see them as opportunities for growth and evolution. Every time you face a challenge, you undergo a mini crucifixion, where the old gives way to the new. This is especially significant in your financial life. Facing moments of scarcity, for example, can be a chance to rebuild your beliefs and vibrations around money, adopting a prosperity mindset. According to Neville Goddard, personal spiritual awakening is the moment when you realize that life is a dream and that within this dream, you are a divine being. Often, we go through life without understanding the role we play or the power we have to shape our reality. This awakening is an inner revelation, realizing that we are not at the mercy of the external world, but are the creators of everything we experience. Thus, upon awakening, you start living in a prosperous and spiritually connected manner. This awakening is not something that happens overnight. It is gradual and occurs as you become more aware of your own vibrations and intentions. As you begin to tune into the idea that your external reality is a reflection of your internal reality, you start to take control of your circumstances. Want a more prosperous financial life? Start by adjusting your internal vibrations, believing that you deserve prosperity and that the universe always responds to your frequency. When we talk about spiritual awakening, we are referring to the moment when you become aware that this world, as you know it, is a simulation, a projection of your mind. For many, this realization comes during moments of deep introspection or meditation, when they disconnect from external distractions and focus on their inner self. Practices like daily meditation can be great allies in this process of self-awareness and spiritual elevation. Over time, this practice raises your vibration, allowing you to naturally align with prosperity and spirituality. The awakening, as Goddard teaches, is the resurrection within you. When you awaken to your true spiritual nature, you begin to see the world with new eyes. Everything around you changes, not because the world has changed, but because you have changed. This is one of the greatest secrets to a prosperous life. It is created from the inside out. A practical example is to start using positive affirmations every day. Affirming to yourself that you are prosperous, that you deserve abundance, alters your vibration and, over time, transforms your financial life. This process of spiritual awakening is very much like opening your eyes after a long dream. Imagine you've spent years living under a cloud of illusions, not realizing the true power you have in your hands. When you finally awaken, you realize that prosperity, success, and self-knowledge have always been within your reach, waiting for you to become aware of them. A prosperous life begins when you understand that your spiritual state directly affects your material reality. The idea of spiritual awakening also involves accepting that you are responsible for everything you attract into your life. This concept might seem difficult at first, especially if you are going through hardships. But this is where the key to transformation lies. By acknowledging your role in creating your reality, you also empower yourself to change it. Want a more abundant financial life? Start by changing your beliefs about money, vibrating in harmony with wealth, and adopting a prosperity mindset. This journey of spiritual awakening also brings a deep sense of freedom. When you awaken to the truth that the world is a reflection of your internal state, you can free yourself from the limitations that held you back. Financial worries, for example, cease to be insurmountable monsters and become challenges you can overcome with a shift in your internal vibration. By connecting with your true spiritual nature, you find the answers you've always sought and open yourself to a life of prosperity and self-knowledge. Moreover, spiritual awakening is not just about yourself but also about the impact you have on the world. As you grow spiritually, your vibrations affect everyone around you. People close to you start to notice changes, creating a domino effect. Your prosperity and spiritual elevation not only benefit your life but also the lives of those around you. In this sense, you become a channel for higher vibrations, helping to uplift the environment and the collective reality. Neville Goddard emphasizes that, upon awakening, you start to see the world as it truly is, a projection of your mind. And by realizing this, you begin to free yourself from the limitations of the simulation. This might mean abandoning old habits, changing your mindset about money, and developing a prosperous life based on your new spiritual understanding. A practical example would be to start practicing gratitude daily, not just for what you already have, but for what you wish to manifest. Gratitude elevates your vibration and attracts more prosperity. According to Goddard, humanity plays a central role in the grand divine plan. Each individual is here to spiritually evolve, ascending to divine consciousness. This process is part of a journey of self-knowledge and growth, where each life experience contributes to our spiritual development. Goddard teaches us that through this evolution, we rise to our true nature, akin to that of God. Thus, each person has a greater purpose than simply living in the physical world. Within this spiritual journey, we face challenges and overcome obstacles, which are an essential part of God's plan. These experiences, no matter how difficult, shape us and bring us closer to our true divine essence. When you face moments of difficulty, it's important to remember that these situations are part of your spiritual growth. Thus, your financial, personal, and spiritual life are all interconnected. Prosperity, self-knowledge, and spirituality become natural outcomes for those who understand and accept their role in this divine plan. The role of each human being in this plan is also an invitation to responsibility. We are not here just to exist, but to actively play our part in the development of our soul. This includes awakening to our spiritual nature and understanding that we are co-creators of our reality. With every decision, with every thought, we influence the simulation in which we live. Want financial prosperity? Then start taking full responsibility for your life, knowing that your choices and vibrations determine the outcomes. Goddard encourages us to view life as a school where we learn to become masters of our mind and spirit. In God's plan, humanity is called to awaken to divine consciousness, not as something distant but as an accessible reality. Through self-knowledge, daily experiences, and spiritual pursuit, each individual is climbing steps on this ladder of evolution. The prosperity we seek in financial life is merely a reflection of our spiritual progress and our ability to create a higher reality. As humanity evolves, it moves towards a deeper understanding of its connection with the divine. This understanding allows us to see beyond appearances and physical limitations, recognizing that, at our core, we are all manifestations of the same spirit. In moments of meditation or introspection, we can connect with this truth, strengthening our vibration and attracting prosperity in all aspects of life. It is in this recognition that we find the true purpose of existence, to evolve and vibrate in harmony with divine consciousness. Furthermore, God's plan for humanity involves developing a profound spirituality, which is directly related to prosperity. When you align with your spiritual nature, your financial life begins to flourish as a consequence of this alignment. A good practice would be to adopt habits that strengthen the spiritual connection, such as meditation, reading sacred texts, and daily gratitude exercises. These simple yet powerful habits elevate your vibration and allow you to be in tune with the divine plan. This journey also teaches us that, as part of God's plan, we need to cultivate faith. Faith not only in an external force, but primarily in our internal power. Goddard reminds us that the divine is within us, and it is through this connection that we can manifest a prosperous life. When we face obstacles, it is faith that keeps us steady, knowing that even in adversity, we are being shaped for something greater. Faith becomes the foundation that supports our spiritual and financial evolution. Goddard suggests that this role of humanity in the divine plan also involves the idea that we are all connected, not just as individuals but as parts of a large spiritual organism. What you do, think, and feel affects not only your life but also the lives of others. Imagine this in practical terms. When you raise your vibration towards a more prosperous and spiritual life, the people around you begin to feel this energy. You can be a source of inspiration, helping others awaken to their own role in this plan. This connection to the whole reminds us that life is not just about material achievements but about a deeper spiritual purpose. The prosperity we seek is not merely financial. It encompasses peace, happiness, and personal fulfillment. By understanding the role we play in the divine plan, we can create a life that reflects this balance between the material and the spiritual. The challenges that arise along the way are opportunities to refine our spirit and elevate our vibration, contributing to the evolution of humanity as a whole. The essence of Neville Goddard's teachings revolves around the idea that life, as we know it, is a kind of dream in which our bodies function as a cross. This metaphor is powerful as it reveals that we carry the weight of our beliefs, limitations, and perceptions throughout the journey. However, this burden only feels heavy while we are spiritually asleep. Upon awakening, we realize that this cross is, in fact, the key to freeing ourselves and creating a prosperous life, full of self-awareness and spirituality. Awakening within the simulation is one of the central points of this concept. While we live unconscious of our true nature, we tend to believe that we are subject to external circumstances, as if we were victims of chance. However, Goddard teaches that by recognizing we are the creators of our own dreams, we begin to take the reins of our lives. This means understanding that by altering our beliefs and vibrations, we can completely transform our reality, including our financial and spiritual lives. For many, this process of awakening may seem distant or difficult to achieve, but Goddard shows us that it is accessible to everyone. The first step is to recognize that your external life is a direct reflection of what you believe to be true internally. Want to see your financial life flourish? Start by adjusting your internal vibration. Think of it as tuning a radio. By tuning into the right frequency, you attract what you desire. Prosperity and success become natural outcomes when you adjust the frequency of your spiritual vibration. The idea that we are in a simulation brings to light a liberating truth. You don't have to accept life as it is now. If your financial situation, health, or relationships are not where you want them to be, know that you have the power to change it all. Goddard encourages us to use imagination as a tool for creation, visualizing what we want to manifest. A practical example of this is setting aside a few minutes each day to close your eyes and vividly imagine the kind of prosperous life you desire. By doing this, you begin to reprogram your mind to manifest that reality. The cross we carry also represents the resistance we often create when trying to change. Perhaps you've noticed that when you try to adopt a new mindset of prosperity or spirituality, the world around you resists. This resistance is natural, but it should not be seen as an insurmountable obstacle. On the contrary, it is part of the transformation process. Just as metal is forged by fire, our limiting beliefs are overcome as we face resistance and persist in our spiritual awakening. Goddard reminds us that this simulation or dream is not something to fear but to master. When you understand that you are the creator of everything that happens around you, life transforms from a battlefield into a game where you set the rules. The trick is not to be deceived by appearances. What you see in the physical world is merely a temporary manifestation of your beliefs and vibrations. By changing these vibrations, you change the game. The prosperous life you desire begins with this deep understanding. Throughout this journey, it is common to encounter moments when everything seems to be falling apart. During these times, the temptation to revert to old ways of thinking is strong. However, it is precisely in these moments that you must remember you are in a simulation. What is happening around you is not final. It is merely a projection of what you have allowed in your mind. Persisting in the new belief, even in the face of adversity, is what distinguishes those who awaken from those who remain asleep. Another crucial point that Goddard highlights is that awakening within the simulation requires practice and consistency. It's not enough to have a moment of clarity and then revert to old thought patterns. It is necessary to continuously apply this new understanding. For this, developing a routine of visualization, positive affirmations, and spiritual practices is essential. A simple example is to make it a habit to affirm, "I am prosperous, spiritual, and the creator of my reality." These words, repeated daily, help reconfigure your mind for success and self-awareness. Besides affirmations, powerful reflection is important. The simulation only has power over you while you believe you are a victim of it. Once you awaken and understand that you are the creator of everything around you, the cross, that once seemed an unbearable weight, becomes a symbol of your power and capacity for transformation. You are not here merely to survive. You are here to thrive on all levels, including spiritual and financial. By mastering this simulation, you become a living example of how life can be prosperous and full of meaning. With this understanding in mind, the next step is to explore how the process of leaving this simulation involves applying the powerful law of assumption, a principle that allows us to manifest everything we desire, regardless of external circumstances. The process of exiting the simulation that Neville Goddard describes involves the practical application of the law of assumption. This powerful principle is simple yet revolutionary. You need to assume as truth what you want to manifest, regardless of external circumstances. Often, people find themselves stuck in difficult situations because they accept their surrounding reality as definitive. But by changing your internal perception and persisting in the belief that you already have what you desire, you begin to change the reality around you. Prosperity, self-awareness, and spirituality emerge when this law is correctly applied. The law of assumption invites you to live with the certainty that what you desire is already yours, even before you see it physically manifested. For example, if you seek financial prosperity, instead of focusing on your current bank balance or difficulties you face, start acting, thinking, and feeling as if you are already financially prosperous. Every thought and action should align with this new reality. This raises your vibration and causes opportunities to naturally arise as a reflection of your new belief. This process is not instantaneous, and this is where persistence comes into play. The physical reality we see around us is a result of past thoughts and beliefs. Thus, adopting a new belief will naturally take some time to manifest. But if you persist, even in the face of contrary evidence, you will see your life transform. Persistence is key to making the new vibration become dominant. This applies to both financial and spiritual aspects. Want to live a prosperous life? Maintain the assumption that you are already in it. This approach can be applied in various areas of life. If you want to improve your relationships, for example, you should start acting as if those relationships were already harmonious. Imagine healthy conversations, happy moments, and affectionate exchanges every day. By visualizing these scenes and believing in them, your vibration changes, and you begin to attract situations and people that reflect this new reality. Emotional and spiritual prosperity are directly connected to this principle. When you assume the life you want, the universe reorganizes everything to align with your vibration. It is important to highlight that, during this process, doubts and fears may arise. After all, we are so accustomed to living based on what we see that when trying something new, the mind tends to resist. However, Goddard teaches us that this resistance is merely part of the journey. What differentiates those who successfully manifest their desires is the ability to keep believing, even when everything around seems contrary. This is what we call unwavering faith. By cultivating this faith, you begin to vibrate on a higher level, where the possibilities of a prosperous and spiritual life are endless. A simple practice for applying the law of assumption is the daily repetition of affirmations. Affirm each morning and night that you already have what you desire. If the focus is on financial life, say aloud, "I am prosperous. My financial life is abundant." If the goal is spiritual growth, declare, "I am a person deeply connected with my spirituality, living a fulfilling life." These affirmations, when repeated consistently, help reprogram the mind and align your vibration with the reality you wish to create. In addition to affirmations, visualization is also a powerful tool to strengthen the law of assumption. Close your eyes for a few minutes each day and vividly visualize what you want to manifest. Picture yourself living that prosperous life, vibrating in harmony with your goals and dreams. See, feel, and experience what it would be like to have that reality now. Over time, this practice transforms your mindset and adjusts your vibration to attract exactly what you visualize. Prosperity and self-awareness then become a natural part of your life experience. As you delve deeper into the practice of the law of assumption, you'll notice that your surroundings will start to reflect this new belief. Situations that once seemed like blockages begin to dissolve, and opportunities arise from unexpected places. For example, your financial life may start to expand with new sources of income, promotions at work, or even unexpected gains. The secret is to never abandon the new assumption, no matter what your external senses might tell you. This is the path to a prosperous and spiritually elevated life. Another important aspect of the law of assumption is understanding that it works best when accompanied by inspired action. It's not enough just to believe. You must also act in accordance with this new belief. If you assume that you are prosperous, your actions should reflect that. Be generous, seek growth opportunities, and invest in your personal and spiritual development. Financial prosperity and self-awareness are the results of a combination of firm belief and aligned actions. Thus, the manifestation process speeds up, bringing tangible results. The law of assumption teaches us that we are, in fact, the creators of our reality. Every thought, every belief we carry in our hearts shapes the simulation we live in. By assuming the life we desire, we begin to see our reality transform before our eyes. The prosperous, spiritual, and self-aware life you dream of is already within your reach. You just need to persist in this new belief until it blossoms. Another powerful tool is the Bible, which, when used correctly, can help us awaken our true essence and escape the simulation. For Neville Goddard, the Bible should not be read merely as a historical or religious account, but as a profound psychological and spiritual allegory. Every story, character, and event has a deeper meaning, reflecting the process of spiritual awakening and self-awareness that we all can experience. Goddard invites us to understand that the scriptures speak directly about our own inner journey, and by deciphering them, we find the keys to achieving a prosperous life, both spiritually and financially. Thus, the Bible becomes a guide for those wishing to understand the simulation we live in and how we can escape it. Within this interpretation, the immortal self mentioned in the Bible is actually our true self, hidden beneath layers of limiting beliefs and conditioning we have accumulated throughout life. To access this immortal self, we need to learn to use imagination consciously, which Goddard considers one of the most powerful tools we have. Imagination, when properly employed, has the power to transform our internal and external realities. It is the first step towards awakening to a prosperous and spiritually rich life. By visualizing what we desire, we create the vibration necessary for it to manifest. But it's not enough just to imagine. According to Goddard, mastering the mind and speech is essential for those wishing to exit the simulation. Our thoughts and words are like seeds we plant, and they always bear fruit, whether positive or negative. This is why he emphasizes the importance of constantly monitoring what we think and say. Words like, "I can't," "I'm not capable," or "it's impossible" block the flow of prosperity and self-awareness. On the other hand, when we speak affirmatively, we reinforce the creative power of our minds. Phrases like, "I am prosperous," "My spiritual life is abundant," and "I am the creator of my reality" generate a vibration that aligns us with success. In this context, mastering the mind means learning to direct thoughts toward what we want, rather than being swayed by what we see around us. Many people live on autopilot, reacting to life's circumstances without realizing that they are the true creators of their reality. Goddard shows us that by training the mind to focus on what we desire, rather than what we fear or reject, we begin to manifest a prosperous and spiritually fulfilling life. This requires practice and patience, but the results are transformative. Speech, in turn, is an extension of what we think. When we speak, we shape our deepest beliefs. That's why Goddard warns us of the power of words and encourages us to speak as if we already have what we desire. If you want financial prosperity, speak as if you are already financially prosperous. If you seek spiritual growth, speak as if you are already in harmony with your spirituality. This might seem challenging at first, especially if the circumstances around you don't yet reflect these realities. But, as the law of assumption teaches us, the act of speaking and thinking in alignment with what we desire creates the vibration that attracts these experiences into our lives. A practical example of this mastery is observing how you talk about money. If you constantly say that money is hard to earn or that there is never enough, this mindset will be reflected in your financial reality. By changing this narrative and starting to affirm that money flows to you easily and abundantly, you begin to tune your vibration to prosperity. Similarly, by speaking of your spirituality as something strong and present, you align with a path of self-awareness and evolution. Your words have the power to shape your life. For those wishing to master the mind and speech, a powerful practice is daily meditation. For a few minutes each day, sit in silence and observe your thoughts. Whenever you notice a negative or limiting thought, replace it with a positive affirmation. This might seem simple, but this regular practice helps reprogram the mind to focus on what you want, not what you fear. Another exercise is to start your day by verbally declaring your intentions for that day. Saying something like, "Today I am prosperous in all areas of my life," or "Today my spirituality guides all my actions," helps anchor these vibrations into your daily experience. By mastering the mind and speech, you begin to escape the simulation described by Goddard. The life that once seemed out of control starts to respond to your command, and prosperity, both material and spiritual, flows more easily. This is not magic, but the natural result of aligning your vibration with what you want to manifest. When you use your imagination to create the reality you desire and employ speech to reinforce that vision, the universe reorganizes itself to bring those experiences to you. Now that you understand how to transform your reality, it's time to take the next step. Discover how letting go of what limits you can make way for a more authentic and prosperous life. Click on the video appearing on your screen and learn how to free yourself from worries and live more authentically. See you there.